Hey guys, it's Haff. I am back again. I have no makeup on currently. I am going to be doing a sort of get ready with me, but I also have some new products and they're all from the same brand, so I thought what I would do is do a bit of a first impressions as well and see how they perform. Some of these I only picked up yesterday, some of them I've had for a little while sitting in my supply of stuff that I just haven't had a look at yet. So we will get into it. And so the brand that I'm looking at is Lacura, which comes from ALDI's. So I haven't actually tried any of the stuff that I have from Lacura, although I have been using their makeup rounds for a little while. So this is all makeup stuff. They have skincare as well. So I have a few different products, and I also have some brushes which I picked up yesterday, which are from the Stepping Out range. So they have a whole bunch of different ranges. So they have their Essentials range, which is what this one comes from, and then they have the Stepping Out one, which has some other stuff, which is the stuff that I picked up yesterday. So there were 3 double-ended brushes. They come in a box like this with this inside it, and then they're in this box. So the 3 that I got was the foundation and concealer brush, which is this one here, which has a standard synthetic. They're actually nice and soft. And then this is the concealer brush, which is a really weird kind of shape, but it's supposed to be really good for like spot concealing, like the end of it being sort of stepped down. So I haven't tried it out, have no idea if it's any good. I also have, they've called this one the contour and angle brush. So there's parts to angle brush. This is normally what I would use for blush more than anything else. This is apparently what they call the contour brush, and they're talking about using it as to carve out the cheeks. So that's interesting. It's normally what I consider like a stippling brush, but they do feel really nice and soft. And then I have the blush and shadow brush. So that's the blush and the shadow brush. They didn't have any other shadow brushes, so I've actually pulled one of my favourite brushes out to help with doing eyeshadow. Yeah. So I have those brushes. I have a BB cream. Haven't tried their foundation, so I don't know what it's like. I have their Revitalizing Cleansing Wipes for mature skin, which I haven't opened yet. And I have a blush, which I bought ages ago. This is from, I think it's from the Essentials line. But we will get to that. It has a dinky little brush in it, which we won't worry about. I have an eyeshadow palette. I have a contouring palette. These 2 I picked up yesterday. They're from the Stepping Out range. And I have a lipstick that I picked up ages ago and haven't actually worn. Let's see if we get it up the right way. Which it's in kind of a rosy kind of tone. So yeah. So let's see what these are like. The fact I haven't taken the BB cream out of the box tells you that I haven't looked at it yet. This is supposed to be the anti-aging one. I found that I prefer a BB cream over a foundation most of the time. This has got a safety seal in it, which I now have to remove, which sounds easy but isn't, because we all know I am package challenged. Which is why I took everything out of its packaging before I started, which was just as well, because I had trouble getting the eyeshadows and stuff out of the boxes. I had to destroy the box. This is what the boxes look like, by the way, if you're interested. That's the contouring, and that is the eyeshadow palette. Only problem with the eyeshadow palette is they are all shimmery. There is no mattes. So we'll be doing a shimmery look today, because I'm not pulling out other shadows, because it's looks something like that. It's kind of got a nice, almost moussey kind of texture to it. It does pull a little bit. This is the light tint. Of course, with like BB creams, you don't get like as many colour choices as you would if you were getting like a foundation, and I'm not expecting it to cover the face dims that I have, because that would kind of be silly. I'm just going to use, I wouldn't usually use a foundation brush. I'd usually just put it on with my hands, because that's the way I roll. Feels quite nice. It is fragranced slightly, but it's a fairly clean citrusy kind of smell. It's not offensive. It's not like highly floral. You know, it doesn't smell like grandma. I did actually moisturise before, even though this is technically a moisturiser. It's more just to even out my skin tone a bit. I'm fairly lucky. I have pretty good skin tone anyway, so most of the time. Which is probably why I don't feel the need to wear foundation most of the time. Apart from the fact I can't find a foundation that I like the finish of at the moment. This is doing what all of my foundations have been doing recently, which makes me think that my skin has changed and it's gone dry, because it seems to be catching all of the dry patches. I found the best cure for dry patches. Alright. This is how I would normally put it on, so we're just going to do that. Frankly, it's faster than using a brush. But the brush is really nice, don't get me wrong, it's actually a really nice brush. Feels quite nice. No complaints about it. But as you can see, I have a fairly major face dim in there and there, which, you know, it's done nothing to cover. So I'm just looking closer in my mirror to my face. Look at my mirror, I guess. The colour's not quite right, it's a tiny bit dark. It is catching dry spots a bit, like right in here. Just caught all the little dry things, and then it starts, you know, you get, it sort of starts peeling, so you can see just by looking at my face, this colour is not a good match. So if you're pale like me, unless you have more of a yellowy undertone, this is probably not going to work for you. I mean, it's okay, it's salvageable, but it is sitting, it's kind of sunk into my pores. I didn't put a primer on beforehand, didn't put a pore filler on or anything like that. So yeah, not entirely happy with the colour of this. It makes me look like I'm kind of sunburnt. At least in the viewfinder, that's how it looks. It doesn't look so bad in the mirror, but in the viewfinder it looks kind of nasty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically set my face, because that's what I would normally do, even with a BB cream. I just find it helps a little bit. I'm using this HD micro finishing powder from BYS, which is a brand that you can get at Kmart in Australia. You can also get it at Terry White Chemist now. This is a recent thing, getting it at Terry White Chemist. This is not where I bought it though, because at Terry White Chemist, BYS is, like, their nail polishes are $4.95, but if you go to Kmart, they're only $4. And the reason I know this is because I picked up another BYS Black Satin, which is my favourite black nail polish. It is a one coat black nail polish for $4. And I think that that is brilliant. So I'm just going to take what they call their like blush brush, and just make sure that there's no big patches of powder. I actually quite like this finishing powder, it's actually really nice. Yeah, I've got all these areas like around here and here where it's kind of just, I wouldn't call it clumping, it's just sitting really, really weird, which you probably can't see. What I'll do, let me just zoom it in. I don't know if you can tell, just through here and under my eye, see how that's sitting? Just not pretty. Yeah, so I'm not totally happy with the BB cream. I've got other BB creams that perform better than that one. I would probably find that I need to mix this with a moisturiser in order to make it look better on my skin, which is often what I used to do back in the day when they first brought out tinted moisturisers, was actually mix them with my moisturiser and wear them that way, so they have less tint to them, because that tint and colour in the viewfinder is looking way worse, and it's all, yeah, anywhere I might have any little patches of dryness or unevenness, it's gripping into them. Which, you know, luckily I'm far enough away from the camera, it's not really super obvious to you guys, it's just super obvious to me, because I can see them, especially when I look in the mirror. So, I'm going to move on. My base is not great, but whatever. I'm going to move on to the contouring palette. This is what it comes with, a really nice mirror that actually stays in position for people who care about stuff like that. It has 4 shades in it. So we have this one, which is more of a bronzy kind of colour. You can see that it's pulling warmer. This one's more ashy, so that would probably be the better contour. There's the white-ish sort of colour. This one's actually kind of pink. Now, I don't know if you can see how deep the pans are. See how long my nails are. It's actually kind of difficult for me to get my finger in there, but I will attempt to at least give you a little bit of a swatch. So that's the one that I would probably contour with. And that was the hand that had the thingy on it, that's why there's weed marks on it. Just let me clean that, try that again. The face wipes, these things, they're quite damp, which is actually quite nice for a change. So many of them are not properly damp. Okay, so let's try to get our big fat finger thingies in there. Not the easiest thing to do with my claws, because of how, I'm just like really surprised at how deep these are into the thing. Right. That is the white one, the pinky one, the bronzy one, and the contoury type one. So, I mean, they have a reasonable amount of pigment on them when you fingers wash them. Whether that's the same when you actually stick a brush in them, we will see. They don't appear to be overly patchy at this point in time. So I'm going to take what they call their contour brush. I'm going to dip it into this one up here. Okay. It's not a bad colour. It doesn't, I think I must have got my finger in there slightly damp because there's a hard pan already. But it's not a bad colour. It's quite subtle. You'd actually have to work quite a bit, I think, to build it up. It's not hugely pigmented, which is fine if you're just starting out and, you know, you just want to use a light hand. I mean, I don't generally contour a lot. I tend to be quite subtle with contouring. And I don't really bronze very much either, because, you know, what's the point? I'm super duper pale. See, in the viewfinder, it looks much more intense than it does in my mirror. Like, it's like much more obvious. I'm just going to do a bit underneath my chin. Seems to blend relatively well. I've noticed that looking in the mirror, in the viewfinder, is probably not a good way of seeing this because it looks really, really dark, which it's really, really not. Like, looking in my mirror, it's like, it's not anywhere near as intense. I'm going to take a little bit of the bronzy one and just warm up the contours a little bit. I wouldn't use this one for, I mean, I could probably almost get away with that one for a blush on me because it's quite, I'm quite pink toned and it's not ashy enough. I'm not going to bother contouring my nose because I very rarely do. But before I highlight, I'm going to go into this blush, which is called the Duo Blush. There's actually not, there's only 4 grams of product in this, and it's got sort of like a light shade and a dark shade. I'm just going to use this one and just swirl between the two. I'll just, before I do that, so this is the lighter shade, that's the darker shade. I'm just going to swirl my brush between the two. Again, not super pigmented, and I can just see this patchiness on my skin, it's driving me crazy. Again, if you're new and you know you're a bit scared of makeup, these are probably fine because you do have to work at it a little bit. This BB cream is really not very good. Like, not for like my skin type. I mean, it's supposed to be good for like people with older skin. It's supposed to even it out. It does have an SPF in it. An appropriate amount. That's literally what it says on the back. An appropriate amount. What is an appropriate amount? Jeez Louise. Okay. So, I am going to use this one up here. I'm just going to use this contoury, the thing that they say is the concealer thing, because, like, why not? You can always. Yep, that is really white. I should not have looked at my face in this mirror, because I can just see how terrible it is. This BB cream is looking. Okay, that brush is not very good for that. I'll just use the blush brush. Not the best highlighter I've used. I mean, maybe it'd perform better if the base it was going on was better. But, yeah. Not entirely happy with that. I'm just going to take a little bit of my finishing powder which is often what I do. Just take a little bit of finishing powder and just help everything blend in. In case you're do not recommend the BB cream. This has got 4 by 2.5 grams, in case you're wondering how much product is in there. It does come with a dinky little brush, but you know how I feel about stuff like that. Alright, now that we've done that, and it's not the best, I'll give it that, I am going to spray my face with my favourite spray just to help the horrid powderiness that I'm starting to see. This is the Australis Makeup Finishing Spray. Smells like roses. It's lovely. I don't know that it makes the makeup stay any longer, and I don't think it actually claims to do that. Oh, well, actually it does. It says it sets makeup for all day wear. I just find that it helps everything sit just a little bit better. Not that much is going to help this BB cream at this point in time. So onto the eyeshadow palette. You get 10 by 1.3 in here. It comes with a couple of dinky sponge tip applicators, which I won't be using. It has a fairly decent sized mirror. Again, it sits up by itself. People who want to do their eyeshadow that way. There are 10 shades in there. They're really only... yeah, no, even the ones that are more matte have got like a sheen to them. I have not used or swatched any of them, so I have no idea what they're going to be like. But before I do that, I am going to put a bit of primer. I'm using the, because that's what the one's doing, using the LA Colours eyeshadow primer. It's not the best eyeshadow primer. I am just trying to use up ones. I'm very much in working through my collection at the moment, and then if I find stuff that I don't like, I've been getting rid of it. It's just easier in the long run. And I'm about to film another project pan video, or a couple of them for different things. So I'm going to take, oops, I'm going to take this one here with the brush that they gave, and I'm just going to brush that all over to help set that primer, create a base. These are a little bit powdery. This one in particular does not appear to be very pigmented at all, but it makes a good all over kind of colour. I do like the brushes though. The brushes feel really nice on the skin, especially this one. Like, you just want to go like this all day, because it's like really, really, really nice. Okay, now I'm going to take my favourite brush, which, excuse me, my favourite brush comes from my Molars Prefer fake Urban Decay type palette. I'm going to go into this one here, put that through the crease area. That one works a bit better. like that one. Even though it's got like a bit of shimmer to it, it's not enough for it to... They're kind of all kind of satin finishes, except for one here that looks like it's super duper. But yeah, they mainly seem to be like satiny type ones. What are we going to do? I'm going to take, I think, this purple here. Put that on the lid. I have to say though, on the whole, I'm not a huge fan of double-ended brushes. They're harder to store without one end ending up always like squished. This is pulling very red on my eyes, which is weird. It doesn't look that cut. It looks more blue based in the pan. It's not bad or anything, it's just not what I was expecting. And then, just because I can, I'm going to take this darker one here. And deepen up the crease and the outer V a bit. Mine actually packs a fair amount of pigment. I just literally tapped it in there. After being super disappointed with the BB cream, I'm actually pretty happy with these shadows. They actually are performing really well, and they're performing, like, on the eyes, they're looking more matte than they appear to be in the pan. And they seem to blend out pretty nicely. I think it's actually more the primer that's causing an issue at the moment. So I'm going to take some more of this one here, just to blend it out a bit more. They are touch powdery. They're kicking up a bit of powder in the pan, but nothing like terrible or anything. And then I'm going to take this one here, just for a little bit of, it's not a completely clean brush, but anyway, a little bit of shadow there. Okay, and then I'm going to take this one here, which is kind of greenish, bluey green. We'll see how it pulls on my eye. And I'm just going to take that under the eye. It's kind of pulling a bit more blue than green, which is fine. And we got fallout. On the whole, from the shadows that I've actually used, these are actually pretty good. I think it was $9.99 that I paid for each one of the palettes and each one of the brushes. So I think for this one, 10 by 1.3 grams, these are actually pretty good. The only thing I will say is that they do have talc in them. I don't know if all of the shadows do, but it is the top listed ingredient. So if you have an issue with talc, you are going to want to avoid these particular shadows. I was having a look because I hadn't actually even looked at that, and they all have dimethicone in them as well, which is probably why they feel so smooth. But that is something to take into consideration. The same with the contouring powders, they also have talc in them. I don't know what's in the blush, but that is something to consider. Yeah, so that's all of those. I am going to use my iTeeny swizzle stick to tightline the upper waterline. I actually found that this doesn't move for me. It stays on the upper waterline, which is really nice, because most of the other ones I've used in recent times move around really badly. So doing my impression of a demon. And every time I do that, I manage to poke myself in the eye at least once. And I'm also going to take, just along the bottom waterline, this Starlux Ultra Olive, mainly because I need to use it for one of my projects, just to darken up along the lash line and the waterline a little, just to smoke it out a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to use my Maybelline Colossal Volume Express mascara. This is the one that is currently in rotation. I have no feelings about it one way or the other, and no, I did not curl my lashes. I generally don't. I probably should, but I generally don't. And then I'm going to do my eyebrows off camera, using my Essence eyebrow thingy. Okay, so I finished off my eyebrows with NYX Control Freak. If you hear a dog in the background, she's just being annoying. So, on to the lips, which is the last thing. I am just going to line my lips with this LA Colors lip pencil, which is basically a fairly nude colour. And then we are going to go in with the Lacura lipstick. It's in 78. It has no name. It looks like that in the tube. Looks like that on my hand. It's fairly sheer by the feel of things. I got fluff on it. So very much a nudie kind of pink. Feels quite, it's kind of got that slightly weird, cheapy kind of lipstick smell to it. It certainly doesn't smell like fruit or berries or anything like that. It's kind of got sort of a yucky smell, but you can't really smell it once it's on your mouth, and you have to stick it right up to your nose to smell it. It's okay, it's probably not a colour that I would generally wear a lot, but it's actually a good nude colour for my skin tone, which is one of the worst things about being pale, is finding good skin toned, like the right kind of nude lipstick. So that is my Get Ready With Me using Lacura products. The contouring palette is okay, it's not great. The blush, again, it's okay, it's not great. The eyeshadow palette is actually pretty good, as long as you don't have a problem with talc. The lipstick is, it's okay. The makeup wipes are actually pretty good. They stay damp and they're quite moist when you pull them out, so they're not too bad. And they're only like a couple of dollars for, how many are in there? 30. So they're good value as well. BB cream I would not recommend unless you're going to mix it with like a moisturiser or something. It just does not apply nicely. Does not look good close up. So that was my Get Ready With Me. If you want to subscribe, click down below, leave me a thumbs up if you like these kind of videos, and give me a comment down below. I try to respond to all comments, and I will see you in my next video. See ya.